Before you spend another dollar at the garden center, stop! I'm about to reveal 8 beautiful plants that cost me over $3,000 in removal efforts, destroyed friendships with 3 neighbors, and nearly put my family at risk. These aren't exotic rarities. They're common flowers sold everywhere, which makes them incredibly dangerous because no one warns you. If you're planning any garden purchases this season, this could be the most important video you watch. Smash that like button if you've ever made a costly plant mistake, and hit subscribe to Senior's Gardening Advice because I'm sharing 4 decades of expensive lessons you absolutely need to know. Greetings, fellow garden enthusiasts. I'm Robert, your host here at Senior's Gardening Advice, and today I'm pulling back the curtain on the most devastating botanical decisions of my gardening career. These stunning plants transformed from garden dreams into absolute nightmares, teaching me harsh lessons about research, responsibility, and the hidden dangers lurking in innocent-looking nursery displays. The warning system. I've arranged these plant disasters from moderately problematic to absolutely catastrophic. And trust me, you'll want to hear every single warning. But here's what makes this different from other plant videos. I'm not just telling you what went wrong. I'm providing superior alternatives for each problem plant so you can achieve the beauty you're seeking without the years of regret that follow. Before we dive deep, do me a huge favor. If this content saves you from even one expensive mistake, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I release fresh content every Friday, and your engagement helps me reach other gardeners who desperately need these warnings. Also, drop a comment below about your own plant disasters. We learn best from shared experiences. Plant number 1. Evening Primrose, the unstoppable colonizer. Let me start with something that initially seems magical. Those brilliant yellow blooms that gracefully unfurl as twilight approaches. There's genuine enchantment in flowers that awaken as the sun sets, drawing night-flying moths and creating an ethereal evening garden atmosphere. I planted them with romantic visions of moonlit garden strolls and sophisticated nighttime entertaining. The harsh reality? You'll experience this magic absolutely everywhere, sprouting from your neighbor's pristine lawn, emerging from sidewalk cracks, and materializing in locations you never imagined possible. Evening Primrose self-propagates with the relentless enthusiasm of a species that has unlocked the formula for global dominance. One innocent plant multiplies into 50 the following season, then explodes into 500 the year after that. The seeds are microscopic and feather-light, traveling effortlessly on air currents while adhering to your clothing, gardening tools, and even your pet's fur. What makes them particularly infuriating is their exceptional drought tolerance and environmental adaptability, traits that sound beneficial until you're attempting eradication. This remarkable resilience becomes your greatest enemy when controlling their expansion. They flourish in depleted soil, compacted earth, sandy terrain, heavy clay, essentially any condition where sensible plants would surrender. I'm currently in year 5 of my Evening Primrose war, still extracting volunteers from the most absurd locations imaginable. They've established colonies in concrete walkway cracks, thrived in my gravel driveway, and mysteriously appeared in my garden shed's gutters. I discovered one determinately growing in the narrow gap between my fence and my neighbor's fence, a space measuring barely 1 inch wide. The most maddening aspect occurs during removal attempts. They frequently snap off at soil level, leaving intact root systems that vigorously resprout. Complete excavation becomes mandatory for each plant, transforming into a full-time occupation when you're battling hundreds of scattered volunteers across your property. The psychological toll of this endless battle cannot be overstated. It's gardening warfare at its most demoralizing. Superior alternatives? 4 o'clocks deliver identical evening drama with flowers opening at dusk while respecting boundaries. Moonflowers in substantial containers provide spectacular white nocturnal blooms without the reproductive chaos. Plant number 2, Chameleon Plant, the malodorous invader. Those heart-shaped leaves, displaying gorgeous variegation in crimson, emerald, cream, and golden yellow, caught my attention immediately at the garden center. The descriptive tag promised distinctive foliage for challenging locations, plus rapid ground cover establishment. The reasonable pricing seemed like discovering the perfect solution for a persistently problematic wet area in my shade garden. What could possibly be wrong with such an attractive plant? Absolutely everything else, as I learned through painful experience. I should have recognized warning signs when the nursery employee displayed unusual eagerness completing this particular sale. "Oh, this will absolutely cover that troublesome area," she declared with what I now recognize as a barely concealed sinister smile. Chameleon Plant earns its name by completely transforming your garden's character, unfortunately not in positive ways. It propagates through runners operating both above and below ground level, dispatching crimson stolons that traverse incredible distances with military precision. It tolerates waterlogged soil, drought conditions, full sun exposure, deep shade, and apparently every other environmental challenge imaginable. But here's the detail that elevates this plant from merely problematic to absolutely unbearable. It emits a distinctive, revolting, fishy odor whenever disturbed. This isn't a pleasant oceanic fragrance. It's more reminiscent of aquatic life decomposing in your garden. Every accidental footstep, casual brush, or removal attempt triggers this nauseating smell that penetrates your hands and clothing for hours. The plant completely disregarded my carefully established boundaries, discovering every microscopic gap and dispatching runners beneath hardscaping. Within 2 growing seasons, it had systematically colonized my entire shade garden, methodically strangling expensive hostas and delicate ferns I had nurtured for years. The financial loss was substantial, but the emotional devastation of watching cherished plants slowly die was even worse. Superior alternatives, heuchera, or coral bells, provides equally spectacular colorful foliage in rich purples, warm bronzes, vibrant lime greens, and lustrous silvers, without territorial ambitions or offensive odors. Your olfactory system will express profound gratitude. Plant number 3, Chinese lantern plant, the underground network. Those charming orange papery pods featured prominently in autumn garden catalogs appeared perfect for creating natural seasonal decorations. The promotional photographs showcased elegant dried arrangements and stunning fall displays, inspiring visions of crafting gorgeous homemade centerpieces directly from my garden. I planted 6 seemingly innocent specimens along my rear border, dreaming of sophisticated autumn decorating projects. I certainly possess abundant crafting material now, whether desired or not, and in locations never intended for ornamental purposes. Here's what those seductive catalog images strategically omitted. Chinese lanterns propagate through underground rhizomes with the single-minded determination of a plant executing military conquest. Their inaugural year maintained deceptive innocence. By the 2nd season, I counted dozens of offspring. By year 3, they had established underground transportation networks, emerging in my neighbor's meticulously maintained yard, breaking through my sealed driveway and mysteriously appearing in my lawn's center, 20 feet from the original planting. The genuine nightmare commenced with removal attempts. These plants possess the most tenacious root architecture I have ever encountered in 4 decades of gardening. Every microscopic rhizome fragment remaining underground, and believe me, fragments always remain, regenerates into vigorous new plants with renewed determination. I devoted an entire weekend to excavating what I believed represented every last piece, only to discover twice as many plants the following spring. My elderly neighbors, who maintain immense pride in their pristine lawn, continue delivering frosty glares at our shared mailbox because Chinese lanterns invaded their property 3 years ago. Despite my offers to fund professional removal, even experienced landscaping companies warn that complete eradication becomes nearly impossible once establishment occurs. The underground rhizome network operates like plant internet infrastructure, with fragments communicating and coordinating surprise appearances across vast distances. It's botanical terrorism operating beneath your feet, planning the next attack while you sleep peacefully. Superior alternatives. Cultivate physalis in large containers where expansion control remains absolute, or experiment with tomatillos in your vegetable garden. They produce similar inflated decorative pods while providing edible fruit. Your neighbors will appreciate this considerate choice. Plant number 4, ribbon grass, the territory expander. Those elegant green and white variegated blades, swaying gracefully in catalog photographs, appeared absolutely perfect for my newly constructed rain garden. The detailed description promised attractive water-tolerant grass, offering deer resistance and minimal maintenance requirements. It delivered on every stated promise, plus one crucial characteristic they conveniently neglected mentioning: aggressively territorial expansion. I initially planted 3 modest clumps, anticipating subtle textural interest and gentle movement within my carefully orchestrated design. The inaugural season exceeded expectations, perfectly proportioned, impeccably behaved, and precisely matching promotional photographs. My satisfaction was so complete that I enthusiastically recommended ribbon grass to several gardening acquaintances. By the second growing season, I observed new shoots materializing beyond original planting boundaries. Some natural spreading seems acceptable, I reasoned, still naive regarding this plant's imperial ambitions. By year 3, I realized my catastrophic underestimation of ribbon grass's expansionist agenda. This species propagates through underground rhizomes so aggressively that coverage can literally double during single growing seasons. But spreading represents only the beginning of problems. It creates incredibly dense, impenetrable mats that systematically eliminate all competition. The rhizomes develop into thick, resilient cables, weaving together like underground infrastructure. Once this mat establishes dominance, it monopolizes all available resources, systematically crowding out every other plant in the vicinity. The native sedges that I had carefully selected for ecological value began disappearing. The wildflowers I had cultivated from seed vanished completely. Even well-established shrubs that had thrived for years started displaying stress symptoms as ribbon grass commandeered nutrients and water. Removal demands serious equipment and unwavering commitment. My initial hand-digging attempt proved laughably inadequate. Those rhizomes extend far beyond visible grass clumps while maintaining incredible toughness. I eventually rented a compact rototiller, dedicating 2 complete weekends to chopping through the root matrix. Despite thorough efforts, missed fragments produced fresh shoots the following spring. Superior alternatives? Choose sedges like Pennsylvania sedge or buffalo grass varieties. They provide identical ornamental texture and graceful movement without attempting landscape domination. Native sedges offer particular value because they support local wildlife while belonging naturally in your ecosystem.
Plant 5, Lily of the Valley, the toxic charmer. I understand your thoughts. These represent classic cottage garden flowers with intoxicating fragrance that stops visitors in their tracks. My grandmother cultivated them, my mother continued the tradition, and I believed I was honoring beautiful family heritage when planting a small patch near my front entrance. But here's what romantic garden publications and nostalgic family narratives strategically omit. They're incredibly toxic and ridiculously aggressive spreaders. I commenced with just 12 small plants in a carefully defined 3-foot area, wanting that heavenly scent greeting visitors at my front door. The first year surpassed expectations. Delicate white bell-shaped flowers dancing in spring breezes fulfilled every dream. By year 2, I noticed shoots appearing outside my designated zone. By year 3, they had traveled beneath my foundation, emerging within established flower beds 20 feet away. These plants spread through underground rhizomes possessing apparent GPS navigation capabilities. They discover every possible pathway through your garden, systematically colonizing new territory with remarkable efficiency. The wake-up call arrived when my granddaughter began crawling and investigating everything orally. That prompted proper research, revealing that every plant component, leaves, flowers, berries, and roots, contains cardiac glycosides potentially fatal if ingested. The beautiful red berries appearing in fall pose special danger because they resemble tiny candies to children. This transformed my romantic cottage garden dream into a legitimate family safety crisis. The removal process proved absolutely brutal. Those rhizomes extend much further than imagination suggests while maintaining incredible excavation resistance. I spent weeks carefully unearthing every discoverable piece, wearing protective gloves constantly and washing hands obsessively afterward. Even now, 3 years later, I occasionally discover stray shoots I missed. The emotional toll of removing family heritage plants while worrying about child safety created ongoing stress that no garden should generate. Beautiful plants should enhance life, not create anxiety about family welfare. Superior alternatives. Sweet woodruff provides similar ground coverage with fragrant white flowers and identical cottage garden charm, minus toxicity and underground invasion tactics. Your family's safety supersedes maintaining traditions. Plant number 6, Bishop's Weed, the property line destroyer.
The nursery associate displayed remarkable conviction when recommending this plant for my challenging shady area. "It's absolutely perfect for your problem spot," she assured me. "Elegant variegated ground cover that thrives in difficult conditions where other plants fail completely." What she conveniently neglected mentioning, Bishop's Weed doesn't recognize boundaries, property lines, or basic concepts of staying where planted. This variegated beauty with distinctive white-edged leaves appeared sophisticated and well-mannered in its small nursery container, creating false confidence about its future behavior. I planted just 3 small specimens in a troublesome shady area beneath my oak tree, expecting modest coverage over several seasons. Within 2 growing seasons, it had spread to dominate half my backyard. It doesn't merely spread across surfaces, it dispatches underground runners called stolons in every conceivable direction, emerging wherever it chooses. The worst aspect involves near impossible complete removal. Every microscopic root or runner fragment remaining behind regenerates into vigorous new plants. I've attempted smothering with cardboard and mulch, repeated mowing, and careful herbicide applications. Nothing achieves complete eradication. I've been fighting this battle for 8 years now, and honestly, bishop's weed wins most encounters. My neighbors stopped speaking to me because it crossed property lines and invaded their meticulously maintained lawn. Despite offers to fund professional removal, even experienced landscapers shake their heads when assessing the situation. The underground runner system operates so extensively and persistently that removal attempts often stimulate even more aggressive growth. It interprets your efforts as challenges to spread more rapidly. This plant has destroyed more neighborly relationships than borrowed tools never returned. Superior alternatives. If you need shade ground cover, learn from my expensive mistake. Choose Paxisandra, wild ginger, or simple hostas. They'll provide beautiful coverage without declaring war on everything else in your garden.
Plant number 7. Morning Glory, the garden assassin. Oh, Morning Glory, those magnificent trumpet-shaped blooms in purple, pink, blue, and white completely deceived me. Garden catalogs displayed them gracefully ascending white picket fences, and I thought, perfect, that's precisely what my back fence needs. I planted them 15 years ago with such optimistic expectations. What I received instead was a garden assassin that I'm still battling today. Here's what promotional materials don't reveal. These seemingly innocent beauties are classified as invasive weeds in most regions. They don't simply climb, they systematically strangle. They coil around other plants so tightly they sever circulation, methodically killing everything they encounter. Their roots don't just penetrate deeply, they achieve impossible depths. I discovered morning glory roots 3 feet down while installing fence posts for an unrelated project. The seeds disperse everywhere and can remain dormant in soil for years before deciding to germinate. This means your morning glory problem can resurface unexpectedly years after believing you've achieved victory. I spent 3 complete summers attempting eradication from my vegetable garden. Every time I declared success, new shoots emerged from overlooked root fragments. Even now, 15 years later, I discover random morning glory vines materializing in the most unexpected locations, ascending through my compost bin, threading through tomato cages, and emerging from driveway cracks. It's like they maintain underground communication networks, coordinating surprise attacks when least expected. The strangling behavior proves particularly problematic because once vines establish themselves on host plants, removal becomes incredibly difficult. You cannot simply pull vines without damaging hosts, but leaving them means watching other plants slowly die. It's botanical psychological warfare at its most cruel. Superior alternatives. If you want climbing vines with beautiful flowers, try clematis varieties like Sweet Autumn Clematis or Jackmoney. Honeysuckle represents another gorgeous option. They'll provide stunning blooms without transforming your garden into a battlefield.
Plant 8. Shasta daisies, the ecological imposter. This selection might surprise you because Shasta daisies represent absolute garden center staples. You'll find them at every nursery, home improvement store, and even gas stations during spring. Those classic white petals radiating from bright yellow centers appear undeniably cheerful and quintessentially garden appropriate. For years, I planted them religiously, believing I was creating perfect cottage garden aesthetics. The problem isn't what they do to your garden, it's what they don't do for your local ecosystem. and frankly, what I didn't understand about responsible gardening practices. Here's what I learned after decades of gardening. Shasta daisies are sterile hybrids created in laboratories. They appear like flowers and behave like flowers, but to our native pollinators, the bees, butterflies, and beneficial insects our ecosystems desperately need, they're essentially plastic decorations. They provide absolutely zero nectar, no pollen, and no value whatsoever to wildlife. But here's the devastating irony. They're aggressive enough to crowd out native wildflowers that would actually nourish our struggling pollinator copulations. Every square foot of garden space occupied by Shasta daisies represents space that could support life instead of merely appearing attractive. As I matured and hopefully gained wisdom, I realized that gardening isn't just about visual pleasure. It's about being responsible stewards of the land we control. Every square foot of garden space represents precious real estate for supporting wildlife disappearing at alarming rates. When I learned that monarch butterfly populations have declined by 80% in just 20 years, largely due to habitat loss, I felt genuine guilt about all those years planting flowers that contributed nothing to their survival. It was a profound awakening about gardening's broader responsibilities. Superior alternatives. Research native alternatives in your specific region. Consider wild bergamot, purple coneflower, black-eyed Susans, or regional native asters and sunflowers. They'll provide similar daisy-like beauty while actually supporting pollinators that make our food system possible.
Closing wisdom and final guidance. I'm not attempting to discourage you from gardening. Quite the opposite. I've been passionate about this pursuit for 4 decades, and despite these costly mistakes, I still wake up excited to work in the soil. But I want you to learn from my expensive, time-consuming, relationship-damaging errors so you can spend more time enjoying your garden and less time fighting it. The key lies in conducting thorough research before falling in love with plants. Don't just admire pretty catalog pictures. Investigate growth habits, ask specifically about spreading tendencies, and always verify whether plants are considered invasive in your particular area. Read all fine print, consult with local experienced gardeners, and when uncertain, choose native plants that belong naturally in your ecosystem. Your back will thank you, your neighbors will thank you, your wallet will thank you, and local wildlife will express gratitude too. Countless well-behaved, beautiful plants exist. You don't need to invite troublemakers into your garden sanctuary.